Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. So I find myself enjoying the luxury of choosing in being, choosing between anything. And recently there's been some conversation of being versus doing, and I'm hearing maybe a little bit of creating versus experiencing. And that we potentially, and I don't always have the right language for these questions, create at the gross, subtle, and causal level and experience there as well. And yet there's a choosing that can happen. Can you speak to that? I mean, I hear a call to action. It's what I heard from you was a call to action.
I'm being very specific. I'm saying that we're all experienced junkies, and we're self-centered, experienced junkies that have a very materialistic relationship to our feeling experience, and we have to cut that out because the future needs to be created now, and we don't have any more time to sit around and enjoy the ride. We have to make something happen. Now, the degree to which we embrace the kind of urgency I'm speaking about is the degree to which we will experience our own ecstatic release. When I talk about ecstatic release, I'm talking about being released from the bondage of samsara in real time. It's not something that you imagine. There is nothing more important for any of us to experience than that. Now that is not. It's not merely a kind of happy, pleasant, blissful high. It's something much more profound than that and much more important. And yes, I'm definitely emphasizing the doing or creative dimension versus the being dimension. I think we've had since the 60s, everybody's been talking about, be here now, and now we have the power of now. It's the same old thing. I mean, I personally, and this is my own opinion, so take it, I think it's the last thing we need is more be here now. Because it's not enough. It's not enough. Even in terms of our evolution and development and understanding of what enlightenment is about, is a lot more than that. Of course, to have a real integrated integrated understanding of what enlightenment is, it has to embrace both dimensions, right? So the absolute nature of everything as it already is inherently free and inherently full and inherently perfect. Now, the foundation, I believe, of any liberated perspective, including an evolutionary one, has to be based upon a deep realization, recognition, and not only understanding, but knowing that faster than thought or before thought. You see, so you already know everything is full and everything is perfect and everything is complete. And how do you know if a person really knows that? You can tell with their relationship to life, by how they live, whether they're still a hungry ghost, right, or whether at the deepest level their existential doubt has been released and transcended, and just in their relationship to life in so many ways. But that's just the foundation, and upon that foundation, there's an urgency, I feel and I believe, that we need to embrace this, what I'm calling this creative or evolutionary principle. I believe that, particularly because of the time we're living in, that's what we need to be doing. So I even feel when we talk about this stuff, and again, this is just my view on it, but even when we talk about this stuff, we need to talk about it in such a way that's literally going to light a fire underneath us. You see, because the problem is, what happens most of the time is we're all so wound up and so uptight and so lost in our own narcissism. And someone says, calm down, transcend the mind, be in the moment. We go, we smile, and then we feel the relief, and they say, that's it. And I say, that's not it. That's just, all we're feeling is some release from our kind of narcissistic self-obsession, and just relief from quote unquote the burden of existence, which is ridiculously enough how a lot of us actually feel such a burden to be alive, which is so ridiculous, because when you realize that the universe can only know itself through you and through I, it's not a burden to be alive, it's the greatest gift to be a human being, because there's only human beings that have this capacity for consciousness that we're speaking about. So it's the greatest gift and the greatest luxury to be you and I right now at this particular time, you see? And so, of course, in the way that I'm presenting it, of course, I'm emphasizing this creative dimension with, very deliberately for very clear reasons. I feel that we just have, a lot of the ways people think about, this kind of non-traditional, very personalized spirituality is so about feeling good. And in the end, I don't think I don't think awakening is really about feeling good. I think it's about something much more important than that. Because if you realize who you are and you begin to do the right things for the right reasons, because you have to, not even because you want to, but because you must, then there's a rightness that you feel about self and life. Okay, that's so far beyond feeling good. You might feel better than most people ever feel, and other times you might feel much worse than other people, simply because of how deeply and how profoundly you're actually engaging with the human experience. But we've got to stop thinking about just this being in the moment and feeling some peace. I mean, it's so paltry.
Well, it makes me feel good to be right.
Are you okay? Do you have some understanding about your whole experiential movement of feeling?
It was nice to hear more voice of doing. I mean, I resonate with that quite a bit, of doing at both the gross and the subtle levels. Yeah. More doing, or not less being, just more doing.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Except if you get stuck in doing, he'll go after that.
Well, yeah, because that would be doing that's not informed by
Make sure you get that part.
The mind of enlightenment. Well, because where's the doing coming from?
Yeah. And where are you going?
Where is the compulsion to do coming from in the self? So, I mean, and also, there are a lot of people doing great work that are not being compelled by the mind of enlightenment also. So, I mean, but we're talking about being compelled from the deepest and highest part of the self. Yes. And once again, remember that awakening to that part of ourself and being compelled by that part of ourself and being willing to respond, because it's the degree to which we're willing to respond to that compulsion is the degree to which you will experience self-liberation in that moment. You see?
The spot right before that's a little scary.
Well, yeah, because the spot right before that is the ego's hesitation, it's its inertia, it's its self-concern. It's the part of ourselves that we all have to get over sooner rather than later. We don't have time to, even though most of us aren't willing to give up the luxury of time, we don't have time to endlessly
be here now.
Yeah,
it takes too long.
And also end up struggling with the ambivalent. We're struggling with the ambivalence of the ego. The ego is always going to be ambivalent because look, who created the universe? God created the universe. God's the energy and intelligence behind it, the nature of which is ecstasy. So that part of you, there is no hesitation in that part of you right now. That part of you experiences that compulsion as an ecstatic obligation. And that part of you experiences no sense of hesitation whatsoever. Of you. But of course the ego is full of fear and hesitation and doubt. It's identified with the past and the way things have been and what about me and what if things change and all the rest of it. And on it will go, ad infinitum, forever. And so finally, a kind of a decision has to be made, if you can permit me for saying this, for eternity. You see, that's when you're really start playing in the big leagues. When it's not a choice you make, well, I think I'll make that choice in my life right now. You say, no. It's ultimately a choice in relationship to eternity. Because when an individual awakens in this way and they make this choice, it's not just for this lifetime. It's not just for this lifetime. Because if the choice is made absolutely and irrevocably, something happens. And that's the whole point.